Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, today we're breaking down a premise that honestly sounds a bit absurd at first. We are going to explore how using ostrich eggshells and industrial hemp to build rockets is actually a scientifically sound, absolutely critical solution to the aerospace industry's impending mineral crisis in 2026. Yes, you heard me right. We're talking about replacing highly engineered, ultra-expensive metals with literal farm waste. Okay, let's dive right into this. When I first read this source material, this quote completely stopped me in my tracks. We literally hatched the next generation of rockets from the egg we consumed ourselves. I mean, it sounds like pure science fiction, doesn't it? But as we peel back the layers of this fascinating topic, you're going to see exactly how agricultural upcycling is positioned to literally save the orbital logistics industry from collapsing under its own environmental footprint. Section 1. The Aerospace Mineral Crisis. To understand why we'd even consider such a radical alternative, we have to look at the massive structural conflict the aerospace sector is facing right now. The year 2026 really marks a turning point. We're seeing commercial space launches grow exponentially. We're looking at a schedule of over 250 launches per year globally. But there's a dark side to this boom. The foundation of this expansion is kind of cracking. The ecological costs of mining the materials needed to build these rockets are destroying the very planet we're launching from. Let's look at the hard data for a second. Traditional aerospace manufacturing relies heavily, like absolutely depends on titanium and nickel superalloys. Extracting just 1 ton of aviation-grade titanium generates anywhere from 35 to 80 tons of CO2. That's a staggering amount. And those nickel superalloys like Inconel, which are essential for rocket combustion chambers, they require massive energy investments just for casting, needing temperatures between 980 and 1200 degrees Celsius for hours on end. Add in the toxic tailings and acid rain from the smelting process, and you have a highly energy-intensive, dirty reality. It directly contradicts the modern carbon-neutral goals of green space exploration. And this comparison brilliantly illustrates the crossroads we're at. If you look at traditional thermal protection systems, which require deep mining, massive energy, and leave a critically high carbon footprint, and contrast that with the biogenic alternative, it's a night and day difference. By upcycling agricultural waste, you get drastically lower energy costs and a near-neutral carbon footprint, all while surviving even higher temperatures. The difference isn't just evolutionary, it's a revolutionary shift away from destructive mining. Section 2. Nature's Engineering Masterpiece. To solve this massive planetary problem, we actually have to zoom way, way in. Meet the African ostrich eggshell. Now, to the untrained eye, this is just poultry waste, right? But to a materials engineer, it is a perfectly pre-engineered, high-density matrix of calcium carbonate. Instead of spending massive amounts of energy synthesizing technical ceramics from scratch, nature has literally already done the heavy lifting for us. The absolute genius here lies in the paradox of its microarchitecture. I mean, think about it. Evolution designed this shell to withstand an extreme compression load of up to 200 kilograms, because frankly, a massive adult ostrich has to plop down on it without making a giant omelet. Yet, it simultaneously maintains complex interconnected pores, around 50 to 200 nanometers wide, to allow the growing embryo to breathe. This means it already possesses an intricate 3D crystalline lace structure. We don't have to burn megawatt hours of energy trying to build a structure from raw limestone. The biological matrix is already perfectly organized for us. Section 3. Hemp Molecular Armor. Now, as amazing as that ostrich eggshell is, pure calcium carbonate has a fatal flaw when it comes to aerospace engineering. It's just way too brittle for the violent vibrations of rocket flight. So how do we fix it? Well, we introduce a mentor material, industrial hemp. Specifically, hemp cellulose nanocrystals, or CNC. By extracting these microscopic fibers from hemp, we create a biological reinforcement. It's basically a molecular armor that weaves right into the brittle calcium matrix of the eggshell. What's really fascinating here is this concept of nacre mimicry. Nacre is the stuff that makes up a pearl. Nature makes pearls incredibly tough using this sort of brick and mortar structure. By mixing the rigid calcium carbonate of the eggshell, the bricks, with the flexible hemp nanocrystals, the mortar, we create an aerospace-grade biomimic of a pearl. The flexible cellulose bridges effectively stop microscopic cracks from spreading, which damps out vibrations far better than your typical monolithic solid ceramics. When you look at the raw data for hemp CNC, it is almost hard to believe. The elasticity modulus reaches up to 143 gigapascals. To put that in perspective, its elasticity literally rivals that of steel. But look at the specific weight. It's only about 1.5 grams per cubic centimeter, compared to nearly 8 for steel. This hybrid material allows engineers to design significantly thinner, lighter rocket fuselages without compromising structural safety. And in the space industry, less weight always means cheaper launches.
Section 4. Trial by orbital fire. So, we've got our raw materials, right? But how does a literal pile of eggshells and plant fibers survive the absolute inferno of space? Well, it requires a process called spark plasma sintering. First, the ostrich shell gets powdered down to micrometer sizes. Second, we mix in up to 30% of our hemp nanocrystals. And finally, we blast the whole thing in a specialized press with rapid heat, up to 1600 degrees Celsius under massive pressure. During this, the organic plant matter actually burns away in an oxygen-free environment, a process called pyrolysis, leaving behind a consolidated, microporous crystalline ceramic lattice.
So the crucial point to take away here is 2500 degrees Celsius. Just let that extreme heat sink in for a second. The resulting bioceramic from this process can survive temperatures up to 2500 degrees. That is roughly 400 degrees hotter than the melting point of some structural steels. Absolutely wild. And the lab stress tests prove it's not just about peak heat. This material withstands violent, rapid thermal cycling. We're talking swinging from minus 180 degrees all the way up to 1650 degrees Celsius. It can survive 500 low Earth orbit cycles. Remember those micropores from the eggshell? They act as a natural buffer, basically compensating for thermal expansion so the whole thing doesn't just shatter. Plus, it offers superior oxidation resistance compared to the standard, incredibly toxic carbon-carbon composites used today. So where does this bioceramic actually go on a spacecraft? It goes right into the absolute hottest, most punishing environments imaginable. We're talking about nose cones, the leading edges of spaceplane wings, and the very linings of the rocket engine nozzles, where they literally have to deflect actual plasma flows.
Section 5. The circular space economy.
Let's pull back to the macro view for a minute. What does this biological breakthrough actually mean for the future of space logistics and, the sustainability of our own planet? It basically builds a completely new framework. The old paradigm relied entirely on extracting limited, rare minerals from deep inside the Earth, a process that is slow, super expensive, and ecologically devastating. The new paradigm? It's symbiotic. We are growing renewable raw materials right on the surface, we are upcycling, and this brings us to a massive logistical shift, local material production, or LMP. If your raw materials are literally agricultural waste from local farms and locally grown hemp, you don't need complex globalized mining supply chains. You can produce your critical thermal materials right next to the spaceports. This localized agility is exactly what we need to support the massive schedule of launches in 2026 without relying on rare earth monopolies. But the implications here go far, far beyond Earth. It turns out that lunar dirt, or regolith, already contains up to 45% calcium oxide and silicon dioxide. If we take this biomimetic approach to space, future missions to the Moon or Mars could literally grow biogenic fibers in their life support greenhouses. They could then use those fibers to reinforce the local planetary dust, creating incredibly strong building materials right there on the surface. Which leads us to a pretty fascinating conclusion. If we can grow the next generation of high-tech rocket shields out of poultry waste and plant fibers here on Earth, can we grow our infrastructure on Mars? It's a totally different way to look at how we explore the stars, not by exhausting our planet, but by partnering with its biology. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I hope this completely changes how you look at the future of space travel. Keep asking questions.